thing.
Welcome to Everyday Ethics, folks. I am your host, Michael Liebowitz, with the co host, Persephone. She says she's got something great for us today. So hopefully she will have something great, I guess is the way to put it. Please, what are they now? We need super chats, super stickers. We're going to have a great discussion on ethics today. So, Persephone, without further ado, you just take over and
Okay, so here's what I wanted to talk about. It's going to require a little bit of. It's going to require a little bit of backstory. So South Africa is a country with. Don't sigh at me. South Africa is
no,
a
it's not a
country.
sigh at you. It's a sigh because I'm drained, and there's only one person in the audience. That's why I'm. That's my problem.
So South Africa is a country with a lot of problems: corruption, load shedding, apartheid, racism, crime.
What'd you call it? Apartheid.
Apartheid.
Yeah, we are
You
correct here. We call it apartheid.
I mean, it's almost like it's not an English word and it's actually correctly pronounced apartheid. Um,
However, the English, whatever the pronunciation in English is, we are right.
anyway, so we have, as a country, we have a lot of problems. And
As
South
a person,
Africa,
I have a lot of problems, so we have a
that's
lot in
very
common.
true. Hi, Akira. Yes, South Africa is a country and not a direction. Um, so South Africans have this really amazing coping mechanism for the fact that our country is shit, right? And that's that we turn everything into a joke. Everything. And I'm not talking about just like personally, just as a nation, we have this horrible habit of making everything a joke. And not just making it a joke, but sort of going, ah, what can you do? You know? Um, so when load shedding happens, load shedding is when they just shut off our electricity for 2 to 4 hours multiple times a day because our electricity grid can't handle all of the people
Why are you there?
in South Africa.
Yeah.
Because I was born here, and
Why?
because why was I born in South Africa?
Yeah. Like, what is going on with your parents?
My grandfather had to get out of Lithuania, because it was really close to Russia, and he ended
And
up
he
here.
chose South Africa?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was back then, it wasn't as bad.
Ah, okay. Because of the white privilege. Got it. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
South Africa has this. My dog is barking. South Africa has this thing where they turn everything into a fucking joke.
All
Load
right.
shedding. When the health minister banned the sale of cigarettes for like 6 months, and alcohol. So cigarettes and alcohol were banned, and we're like a country of alcoholics, right? Um, Everything was just a joke. We make funny TikTok videos and we make songs and we joke about everything. And it makes us as a society, like as a nation, it makes us fucking fatalistic because we're like, oh well, what can you do? Because
Is this
everything is.
just among the whites or everybody else as
Oh
well?
no, this is it. This is insanely cross cultural, cross racial.
All right.
We use our problems as a nation as like a bonding thing between the
Oh.
races, right?
Oh.
So
All right.
load
All right.
shedding affects all of us equally. So we make jokes. Like, yes, racism is a problem, but as a nation, we're united in the fact that our government sucks to everyone, right?
That's all
So
right.
we use it as this. We use it as a coping mechanism. We use it as like a bonding thing. But again, it makes us really fatalistic. It makes us like complacent almost because when shit happens, South Africans just go, "Oh well, what can you do?" It is what it is. And the one time that South Africa as a nation decided that like we couldn't joke about it anymore was with the president that we had before Cyril, which was
Wait a
Jacob
second.
Zuma.
Wait. They made a rule that you can't joke about South Africa?
No? What? I said the one time that we decided things weren't funny.
Oh, okay.
So we make jokes about everything. The one time that we decided as a nation that the shit that was happening wasn't funny
All
was
right.
with Jacob Zuma, who was the
All right.
president before Cyril, right?
All right.
And there was huge corruption scandals, and South Africans took to the streets. We rioted. There was about to be a vote
We
of no.
were you rioting?
Yeah, well, I wasn't rioting. I was protesting.
Okay. But you took to the streets.
Yeah,
Did you
but
have
South Africa.
the headphones like that?
No, I mean this was in 2017 that this happened.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to keep it interesting for myself. Okay, go ahead.
I'm glad to hear that my story isn't interesting for you. Anyway, so South Africa, they protested. We do it a lot, but like this was really serious, right? And the one time that South Africa decided shit wasn't funny and we actually had an issue, uh, Jacob Zuma uh, faced a vote of no confidence. They were about like they were about to kick him out of office. The ANC, which is the ruling party, put major pressure on him to resign, and they recalled him. So he was ousted from office, basically. And I just find it really funny how there's some good aspects to the fact that we can laugh about things because, it makes us more optimistic as a nation, but it also at the same time makes us extremely fucking fatalistic. It makes us really complacent, even though it feels better in the moment to joke and to, not get really down about the fact that there's so much crime and load shedding and everything. It feels like a good thing to be like, well, I'm not going to let this get me down. But what ends up happening is it, as a nation, has made us complacent to all the shit that goes on. Do you have any thoughts on this story?
I'm glad you added the qualifier at the end. Uh, well, I just wonder, like you say, I don't know that it would be the humor that's making you fatalistic, but rather there's some underlying cause of both the humor and the fatalism, which is the utter unresponsiveness of the government to the needs of the people living there.
Yes, but the reason I say that the humor makes us fatalistic is because I feel like our tendency as a nation to make a joke out of everything prevents us from taking real action.
Do you think that it might be the other way around? That the inability to take real action leads to the humor? I
No,
mean, what are you going to
because
do? What are you going to do? What's the real action that can be taken?
well, the one time that we did make serious noise as a country, we had the president removed, and that's something. Um, Major resistance led to the ANC, right? Because we had a different government before the ANC. During apartheid, however you pronounce it, we had a different government, obviously. And the way that they got rid of that government wasn't through like peaceful protest. It was through the country making a fuckload of noise. So no, when people decide that they are going to take serious action and they do what what they feel needs to be done instead of just making jokes about it, shit just does change.
Um, so I got a few questions for you here.
Yes.
Culture wise,
Eh.
is there anything within the culture of South Africa that indicates that there's people that would actually like to have anything resembling a constitutional republic, or what we would call American style capitalism, or anything like this?
Um Yes, yes. There's different factions in South Africa, and one of the big problems is that there are so many different races in South Africa, so many different cultures. We have 11 we have 11 official
Right.
languages because that's how
Okay.
many cultures we have.
How
But
controversial do you want me to be here? Because I can
they
just go sick with this if you want.
I mean, yeah, I want you to be honest.
Okay, what I really would like to know is
Mm,
the white population in South Africa is a wicked minority, correct?
8%.
8% is white. Out of the remaining 92%, these are tribal ethnicities, correct? These are ethnicities derived from tribes.
No. Almost, but no. So we've got black people, which are descended from the tribes, but we've also got a huge Indian slash Cape Malay. Because we had so many Indian slaves, there's a huge Indian population. Then there's Cape Malay, and then there's also the colored people who are not really tribal. They're a completely different thing.
So they
So
don't come from tribes. What is the percentage of the population that is tribal? Stem from tribal Africa, from African tribes. The Bantus specifically, or the Khoisans.
I'm gonna Google. So we've got 82% Black African majority. Um,
Okay, let's just go with that for now. We
yeah,
don't. I don't need to know the rest. The 82% Black African majority, they're descendants of Bantus, correct? By and large.
no, multiple different tribes. Xhosa, Zulu. Yes.
Zulus, I believe Zulus stem from Bantus, Persephone. I want to know
Oh,
what
okay, okay, sure, sure. Yes, the original tribes. What's your point?
I want to know that. So let's just say that the 82% Black African that you have that are
Mm-hmm.
over there are stems from tribal Bantus. What I want to know is the culture that is within that 82%, broadly speaking, is it a culture that's conducive to individual rights, individual liberty, capitalism? What is the culture of the dominant 82% of the population?
It's even
Okay,
in that
Persephone doesn't want to go to jail, so I'm going to Google.
even in that population, it's really split, right? Because you have some that are still very tribal, but
Doesn't
you
matter. I'm
also
not asking if they're tribal only. I'm asking you if they. What is the culture? Is it a culture that is conducive within there? Are there pockets within? I mean, large pockets, not one family that are conducive to individual rights and individual liberty.
hmm, I don't feel comfortable answering that question.
Can I answer it in a second?
Yeah, sure. Phil, thank you so much for the £50. Phil asks, may I ask what you feel is the subliminal level of desire for laissez-faire capitalism in SA amongst business owners? I ask as I've known folks from there who seem to imply SA is being destroyed by complacency. South Africa is being destroyed by complacency. Yes, I think amongst business owners there is a lot of desire because there is a lot of government interference in business, especially larger corporations. There is a huge amount of government interference that people would like to not be happening. Um, so, subliminal level of desire probably quite high amongst business owners. Why don't I feel comfortable answering that? Because I am white. He's asking specifically about the black population. I'm not black. I don't spend a lot of time sort of immersed in that culture. So I don't feel comfortable answering it because I don't really know. I hang around people who have sort of similar ideas to what I do, but I don't know how much those people are outliers. Um, and that's why I don't feel comfortable answering that.
Keep talking.
Um, Look, South Africa is South Africa is an interesting country, right? We have a lot of different cultures, we have a lot of different ideas. Um, we're very united, but very. What's the opposite of united?
Yeah, okay, I got my answer. So, look, I was right. The black South African is pretty much synonymous with descendants from the Bantus. So, the culture of the dominant cultural and philosophy of black South Africa is Ubuntu. These are the key features of their culture: collective identity over individual identity. Personhood is
Mm-hmm.
defined relationally, not autonomously. Communal decision making, consensus in elder councils rather than majority rule voting. Redistributive obligations. Those with resources are expected to share with extended kin and community. Restorative justice, reconciliation, and reintegration over punitive individual accountability. Ancestral and spiritual continuity. The community includes the dead and unborn, not just living individuals. Is it conducive to individualism? Not naturally, is what it says. Is it conducive to capitalism? Mixed and contested. Traditional land tenure in much of Bantu culture is communal, not private. They got wealth distribution. So, look, the bottom line is this: no. This has nothing to do, and Phil, I appreciate it. This has nothing to do with race or, the color of one's skin or anything like that. What I'm talking about is culture here. And I mean, this is not a genetic thing. This happens to be the culture of the people that are there. And if the culture is not conducive to freedom, to Western style capitalism, individual rights, you're not going to get it. You're going to keep getting fucked over and over and over again. So the reason I wanted to know all this is to address the issue of the fatalism that Persephone spoke of. Because the bottom line is, I don't care, you're fatalistic or not. When 82% of the population represent a culture that is collective in nature, that's spiritual, that emphasizes things like redistribution, you're not getting good stuff. It's just not going to happen. So, fatalism in that society seems to me perhaps the appropriate attitude to take. Now, if the fatalism extends to there's nothing I can do, that's a problem. But within your context and where you live, you can still strive to live ethically. You can still strive to be a good human being. And you can strive to get the hell out.
That's very true.
So
Um,
that would be my, what's the word I'm looking for here? My advice is do your best. Like we told Nicole yesterday, get out. I know you can't leave right now. It's not an easy task, and I don't want to make it seem easy. But what are the alternatives? Because it
See,
seems like changing the government is not one of them.
I mean, so here's something interesting about South African politics, right? We have different uh, provinces, and there's the country's government, but then the provinces have their own governments.
Okay. Let's suppose the province that you live in,
Western Cape.
okay, wants to implement things like I don't want to talk about Mr. Deagle. I'm sorry, whether ethnicity is a valid concept right now. That's just not where I want to go with the show. People can argue that race isn't a valid concept. I mean, but we all know what I'm talking about, and that's what I want to convey. And again, it has nothing to do with color. It just has to do with the majority of the people and what their culture is. So
Hmm.
my question is: suppose you were to have an individual, what'd you call them, precincts? What'd you call them?
Province.
Province. You have an individual province that starts to implement things like rule of law, individual rights, low taxes, and they start to have an economic boom within that province. What are the chances that the national government allows that to just happen and leaves it alone, as opposed to implementing some sort of confiscatory scheme or some type of regulation on activity?
It's it's difficult because so Cape Town, South Africa's national government is the ANC, right? Cape Town is run by the DA, which is the Democratic Alliance, and Cape Town, which is DA run, is run very differently from the rest of the country. Um, Service delivery is a lot better. So I don't know really. Um,
Okay. So, Phil, I'm not saying people have collective brains, but if we deny the impact of culture, we're just avoiding what reality is. And, ideas move people, ideas shape cultures. If the ideas of a culture going back thousands of years are a certain way, the chances that Persephone is going to sway them, we can't even do it in the United States. We can't even, in a country founded on individual rights and individual liberty, in a country where the idea of capitalism is supposed to be good, we can't even get a country that respects individual rights and capitalism. So the idea that this is going to occur in a country where at least 82% are from a culture that's hostile to these things, and I haven't even looked into the rest. But if they're largely Indians from India, they've got a whole lot of cultural problems over there as well. So, I mean, we can't just ignore these things when we have discussions. It's nothing to do with race at
no.
all. It has to do with culture and how cultures evolved. I highly recommend, by the way, for anybody interested in why, and I'm not saying that I'm not endorsing the book in its totality. I just think it's a good read and an interesting explanation, is Jared Diamond's book, Gun, Germs, and Steel. But I don't, if we're talking about right now, to bring this to relevance to the show, as far as individual agency goes, to what to recommend that Persephone do, and whether her use of humor is leading to fatalism, I would say no. It's a 30, how old? I'm sorry, 30 plus years that Persephone has lived in this country, where she's seen what happens and what occurs, have bred or installed or inspired, or however you want to put it, a sense that you're not going to change the government there. Right? So, that being the case, what practical advice can I or you or anybody give her? Do we want to say, as Phil did here, that, well, South Africa could be a much more beautiful country in almost any respect, so keep at it? Or should we say, Persephone, you ought to do your best as a human being, stay motivated, be as good of a human being as you can, succeed where you are as best you can, but try to get the hell out. And it seems like that would be the best advice.
So I have another question for you. So one of so, I despite how much the country sucks, I like South Africa, right? I like Cape Town where I live.
Well, it's your home. I mean,
Yes, and it
there seems to be, I just want to say, in human beings, a natural attraction to the place where we grew up. I live in Connecticut. Right now, I live about 20 minutes from Weathersfield, where I grew up, right? I love going to Weathersfield. It's
mm,
so familiar to me. I absolutely love it.
how far away is Connecticut from Sacramento?
Connecticut from Sacramento?
Yeah, I remember I don't live in America.
It's on the other end of the country, probably, I mean, a 6 hour flight if you went straight from here to there, roughly. Phil agrees. He says that's his point. He says, please refer that to Persephone. Persephone can see your comments, Phil. He says, I've read Guns, Germs, and Steel 4 times. Fabulous analysis. Yes, I agree. Great, great book.
So, Phil, if we don't have collective brains. Even in a tribe, SA could be such a more beautiful country.
You got
I
to catch up
mean,
because that's the comment I already referred to. He's
but is
now
it is
got.
is that not what he said to refer to me?
No, I think I don't know what he means by refer to. I assumed he meant refer what I just said, or refer, or
Uh,
I think he means refer Guns, Germs, and Steel to you.
oh, okay. Uh, I've completely lost my train of thought. Oh, right. I for all its problems, right? Obviously, I like Cape Town. I like South Africa. Here's the problem. I would leave in an instant. My problem is that my mother lives here, my sister lives here, and my nephew lives here. Well, my nephew and my niece. So if I could convince, or if I could find a way to take my mother with me to another country, I would leave in an instant. But because my mother's in her 70s, it's really difficult for her to go to another country.
Okay, can we? I want to go to what you first said because I think
What?
that within that might lie the key. You said if I could convince,
Yes.
which tell me if I'm wrong because I have to pick up things. You know what I mean? I could be wrong. Is that there's an issue where the other people in your life want to stay there?
Tricky because my mother also wants to leave,
Phil,
but
thank you for the cargo, by the way, Phil, that you donate to the show.
um my mother also wants to leave, but because my sister lives here with her two
Ah,
kids,
okay.
my mother won't leave my sister.
Okay. So this is what my thoughts are on that. And it may be harsh, may sound harsh, I don't know. But here's the thing. If you really want to get out and the people in your life don't care so much about what you want, then why do you have to care so much about what they want? You understand why? Because this happens a lot where it seems like it's just a one-way street. Like you want this and they don't, but yet you have to worry about what they don't want. They're not worried about your happiness. That doesn't seem right to me.
It's not. It's not. Um and the
And
thing is
Salem, what does Salem think? If you don't
Salem would
mind me asking, I mean,
Salem would go wherever I go.
but what does Salem want?
Uh Whatever I want. Like I know that sounds weird, but
He's
he
indifferent, basically. He doesn't care. Whatever you want,
he
he'll do.
yeah, basically. But the thing is, I can understand where my mother's coming from, right? Not wanting to leave my
Because her,
sister.
yeah, I understand that too. But my point is that, well, so if you leave, right, why isn't that as valid a reason for your mother to leave as your sister being there valid reason for her to stay?
It gets even worse because if I left, my original plan was to move to the UK.
Okay.
Um, my mother has three children. She's got me, my sister, and my brother. My brother lives in the UK. I would be moving to the UK, and my mother would still stay for my sister.
Okay. Then, as hard as it might be, Persephone, put yourself first. Why are you going to put yourself, subordinate your needs, your desires, and your life to people who aren't willing to do the same for you?
Because I love my mother.
I get that. Okay, you love your mother, but at the same time, then you're subordinating your self interest to her. She won't do that for you. Mother or no mother, that's the reality of the situation.
It it is, and I fully acknowledge that, and I fully acknowledge that it is probably stupid of me, but it's just one of those things, right? My mother is very important to me. I speak to her every day. I see her multiple times a week. If I moved overseas, it would be much more difficult for me to see
All
her.
right. Well, then that's your decision to make. But I just would really recommend fully understanding the nature of the decision.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just a matter of, well, I love my mom and I want to stay. And, it's tough for my mom because your mom is making decisions too.
Mm.
And the decisions that she's making are not prioritizing you. I'm not saying she should. I'm just saying that if that's your decision, be fully aware of the decision you're making.
So I just want to address Persephone and Mr. Deagle.
Uh,
Mr. Deagle says, "What decision would you regret in 20 years?" I would regret leaving my mother. That's what I would regret. If I moved overseas and I didn't see my mother,
Yeah,
that's what I would regret.
but
Um,
Okay, what I want you to do though, and we've got a bunch of comments here. When I say understand it, I want you to really, and I don't expect this to happen right now, to
Hmm.
fully grasp the nature of the decision that you make there, to fully understand your motivation, the why you're doing it, to understand the consequences, both in terms of existential and in terms of what's going on in your mind with your emotions, your relationship to your husband, everything. Because it's your life and you have to make the decision and nobody else can. You know what I mean? But you don't want, 20 years from now, you can't get out of South Africa for whatever reason. Your mother passes by then, perhaps, and you're saying, Jesus Christ, I subordinated my life and happiness to other people, and now I'm fucking miserable.
So it's a really random conversation to be on, but I had a discussion with my mother and I told her that, I told her I want to leave South Africa, I want to move. And I said I wouldn't want to leave without her, but I would move to the UK so that she could live in the UK close to my brother and I could live in the UK as well. And she said, "Oh, well, I can't leave until Amelia is in primary school or in high school, I think." So there was a decision made that once she'd fulfilled this certain obligation, that she would move. So we've been actively researching the best way to do that. So I mean, the plan is still to leave, just not right now.
How long till the primary school thing?
I'm estimating probably about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, well, that's not that bad.
No, I mean, it's not like I'm waiting 20 years. But it's also not like it's not something that I've considered or anything like that. It's something that I have put a fair amount of thought into and have discussed with my mother and have discussed with Salem and have discussed with my business partner as well, because obviously that's a big factor. My business partner currently lives in South Africa, so
Salem rocks.
he does, doesn't he? Oh, by the way, everybody, Salem will kill me if I don't say this, but Everyday Ethics and the Capitalist Corner are both now streaming on Twitch as well. So if you do have a Twitch account, please go and follow on Twitch. And also, Everyday Ethics and the Capitalist Corner are also available on Spotify. So please go and listen, and rate both shows on Spotify.
Awesome. All right, we're going to wrap up because I've got things to do and get ready for the weekend. Tomorrow, we're doing Self Made Soul with Mark, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on his Patreon. Thanks, everybody, for engaging in the discussion. Thank you, just for being here. And, of course, thank Phil for the awesome contribution.
Thank you, Phil.
We will see you on Monday. Until then, be ethical and be ethical afterwards.
Bye.